Welcome to Phrasal Verb Practice. This is the place to learn real English, one phrasal verb at a time. My name is Marissa, and I'll walk you through this learning journey. Hi all, wishing you a great day. We're going to explore and work on the phrasal verb fall behind. So, let's talk about what fall behind really means in everyday English. When we say fall behind, there's one main idea behind it, but we use it in a few very common situations. First, we use fall behind when someone doesn't keep up with work, tasks, or responsibilities. Basically, things start moving slower than expected. For example, I fell behind on my assignments. She fell behind at work last week. They fell behind with the schedule. Now, another way we use fall behind is when we talk about pace. This is about not moving as fast as other people or other teams. For example, the team fell behind during the project. He fell behind in the race. Our department fell behind compared to others. There's one more very common use of fall behind, and this one is about money. We use fall behind when payments are late. For example, she fell behind on her rent. He fell behind on his bills. They fell behind on loan payments. So here's the key idea. In every case, fall behind means losing pace or progress compared to what's expected. Now, let's quickly connect this to other languages. In Spanish, fall behind is like quedarse atrás or atrasarse. In French, it's prendre du retard. In Portuguese, ficar para trás. In Italian, rimanere indietro. In German, zurückfallen. In Japanese, okoderu. And in Chinese, la ho, or gan bu shang. Now, when do people usually use fall behind? People use fall behind when work starts to pile up, when someone can't keep up with others, when deadlines are missed, when payments are late, or when progress slows down. Let's look at a few clear examples to wrap this part up. I fell behind on my homework. The project fell behind because of delays. She fell behind in the training program. He fell behind on his credit card payments. The team didn't want to fall behind the competition. Now, let's talk briefly about how fall behind works grammatically. The phrasal verb fall behind is inseparable. That means we never split the verb and behind. Structure. Fall behind. Fall behind on plus noun, very common. You'll often hear it used with on to say what someone is late with. For example, she fell behind on her tasks. They fell behind on payments. Because fall behind doesn't take a direct object, we don't put pronouns inside it. All right, let's finish with some practice. First, you'll read a short text from everyday life. Then, you'll read another text in a professional or office context. Are you ready? Let's start. Lately, my days have felt a little rushed, and I've noticed how easy it is to fall behind without realizing it. It started with small things. One morning, I hit snooze too many times and fell behind on my usual routine. Breakfast was skipped, and the rest of the morning felt off. During the week, I fell behind on house chores. The laundry piled up, dishes stayed in the sink, and every night I told myself I'd catch up tomorrow. Instead, I just fell behind again. Even replying to messages felt harder, and I fell behind on texting friends back. By Wednesday, I realized I had fallen behind on paying a couple of bills. Nothing serious, but enough to make me feel uneasy. That stress made it harder to focus, and I started to fall behind on things I usually enjoy, like going for a walk or cooking a proper meal. On Thursday, a friend called and said she had also fallen behind on her plans that week. Hearing that helped. We laughed about how life gets busy and how easy it is to fall behind when too many things happen at once. Friday came, and I decided to slow things down. I didn't want to keep letting everything fall behind. I spent the evening organizing a few things and making a short list for the weekend. It wasn't about doing everything, just not letting things fall behind even more. Over the weekend, I caught up on laundry, cleaned a bit, and finally replied to messages I had fallen behind on. On Sunday night, I felt calmer. I knew I might fall behind again in the future, and that was okay. Life isn't about being perfect. Sometimes we fall behind, take a breath, and gently move forward again. Great, that was the first text. How many times did you hear the phrasal verb of the day? Now, let's move on to the second text. At the start of the quarter, our team felt confident about the project timeline. Everyone knew their role, and the first few weeks went smoothly. Then, a few unexpected requests came in, and that's when we started to fall behind. At first, it didn't seem serious. We thought we could catch up quickly. As meetings filled up the calendar, I noticed I was starting to fall behind on my regular tasks. Emails waited longer than usual, and some reports stayed unfinished at the end of the day. A colleague mentioned she was also starting to fall behind, especially with documentation, and that made it clear the issue wasn't just personal. Midway through the month, the schedule officially fell behind. One delay caused another, and suddenly, the team was working reactively instead of proactively. During a status meeting, our manager acknowledged that we had fallen behind and asked us to reset priorities instead of pushing harder without a plan. I volunteered to help reorganize tasks because I didn't want the team to fall behind even more. Still, with extra responsibilities, I personally fell behind on a few follow-ups. I sent a message to explain the delay, which helped reduce pressure and kept expectations clear. Later that week, we checked progress again. Some areas had improved, but others continued to fall behind. Instead of blaming anyone, we focused on support. One teammate admitted she felt overwhelmed and worried about falling behind, so tasks were redistributed to balance the load. By the end of the sprint, we hadn't fully caught up, but we stopped continuing to fall behind. That felt like progress. We adjusted deadlines, improved communication, and avoided rushing decisions. The project moved forward steadily after that. We learned that teams sometimes fall behind, but how you respond matters. With transparency and teamwork, falling behind doesn't have to mean falling apart. Great! That was the second text, and that's all for today. Thank you so much for following this channel, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye!